Go ahead.
And just Ryan, I mean, how good is it got to feel to get your first win in Ross A, first Big Ten win, and you do it against Brett Bielema in Illinois?
You know, the fact that it was Illinois, I know there wants to be like a big storyline and added emphasis and all those things, but the reality is where we were as a team, it didn't matter who the opponent was. We needed to get this game. We needed to go out there and play hard. We need to play tough and physical. We need to play assignment sound and put 4 quarters together of what we think is brother football. And so it was good to see the guys practice the way they did and prepare the way they did under the circumstances of the first 4 games. I've been saying this team will continue to get better as the year goes, and I think this is just an example of that. And so I'm proud of the guys for the way they played. They did enough to go out there and win the game. Still got some stuff to clean up. We got to put this one behind us. We got a fantastic Iowa team next week.
Yeah, Ryan, it looked like you were calling the defense. Is that the case? And if that was the case, why did you decide to do that?
We just, Kane, we could see the game better from up top. That's the way we operated a year ago. And so I was just trying to help with him and him seeing the game. He was very communicative up top, and it worked obviously. And so I'm happy. I'm happy that we were able to do that as a staff.
Ryan, to your left, you converted 4 third downs in the first touchdown series in the second half. Can you speak to the improvement on third down offensively today, and maybe what the cause for that was?
Yeah, I mean, offensively, I think at one point I think they were like 0 for 9 or 10 on their side, and we were, I think we ended up 8 of 13. Is that right? And so just the emphasis on third downs, the losses that we've had has been so lopsided. So I thought, Graham and his crew did a great job of putting a plan together and understanding where we were going to try to get attacked. And then defensively, I thought, Kane and the defensive staff really put some ideas together that we were able to execute, and the guys bought in and really dove into the film study. So they were anticipating instead of reacting to what was going on out there, and that pays dividends in critical downs.
Ryan, you talked in recent weeks about how you've seen it in practice, seen every facet of your team come together, but hadn't seen it on the field yet. From watching today, what did you see out there in terms of that, in terms of it coming together?
Yeah, I mean, I saw us fighting and fighting together. We have seen it in spurts. We haven't really played complementary football yet. And I thought, today was a great example of what happens when we play complementary football. And guys go out there and really give it their all for 4 quarters. I think you can see what we're capable of doing when we are playing clean, we're executing at a high level, we're communicating at a high level, and we're playing tough and physical.
And then, do you think with 400 rushing yards, or nearly 400 rushing yards the last 2 weeks, do you think that's changing the identity of your offense?
I think, everybody thinks air raid, that just means they throw the ball all the time, and that's not the case. You look at the air raid guys out there right now, like the Lincoln Rileys, the Sonny Dyches, the Garrett Rileys, and now the Graham Harrells of the world. They just find out what they're good at and then do it over and over again and try to present it in different ways so that the guys are playing fast and being comfortable out there on Saturdays. So I think this is just a good example of us playing balanced and still playing with pace and playing with tempo and throwing it when we need to throw it and running when we need to run it.
And Coach, defensively, you guys stopped their first 9 third downs, I believe, and got them off the field. Just where did that improvement on defense come from? It seems like you were maybe dialing up some pressures, getting some corners coming from the outside. Just how were you guys able to get them off the field?
The guys went out there and executed the game plan. We try to put them in the advantageous positions, but ultimately, they're out there playing. It's always been about the players, right? So I thought this week of preparation defensively was phenomenal. And Wednesdays is our heavy third down emphasis days. And that was as good a Wednesday as I've been a part of. And so, you practice habits become game day reality, and what you saw in practice all week, we saw out there today.
And what did you see from Yanni specifically? I understand he had to take on a little bit larger role this week. Just how was he kind of able to just do what he was able to do, and he also notched the first sack of his career?
Yeah, you know, Yanni's been phenomenal. You know, he's been pushing for playing time since the spring. You know, we made him the full-time inside backer. And like I said, we saw it in practice all week. And so it's no secret that he played the way he did today. And hopefully that'll be very, very advantageous for him moving forward and boosting his confidence. And you know, now you got results to back up what you thought of him. And so I'm excited about his career.
Sam, go ahead.
Ryan, when, I guess starting in the spring, we heard this three-headed monster with the backs, with Dylan, with Tyrone, and with Maccabee. Was today kind of what you envisioned when you got here in the spring and saw what you had at that position?
Yeah, absolutely. We started working on ball security. Almost lost my cool here a little bit. You know, we got to keep preaching that, but you see how dynamic all three of those guys can be, how physical all three of those guys can be. And you know, I thought our offensive line created some lanes for them, and you know, kudos to G and to Marcus Johnson for putting together a game plan that was creative and try to put us in the right spots to gain an extra hat. And so I was very happy with the way we moved the ball.
Was it as simple as Gus Hartwood coming back that maybe that's what this offensive line really needed to solidify itself?
I mean, obviously Gus is a great player, and we are better. You know, that's the reason why he's the captain. That's the reason why he was an All Big Ten player a year ago. He's really good. So that definitely helps when you got good players and your leaders in the lineup. You know, but I thought all five of those guys did at some point did something really special in order for us to have rushing lanes and run the ball the way we did.
Take questions in the back.
You kind of already touched on it, but what is that feeling like to be the team that you used to be a part of and be Brett Bielema and Illinois?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought, I haven't thought about who the opponent was, you know what I mean? To me, I'm just looking at what the offense does and how to stop it, the defense does, how to stop it, you know, and all the things that we're riding on this game, regardless of my history with the opponent, you know. And so I'm happy for our guys. They prepared the way they were supposed to, and you want them to be rewarded with a win, and they were today. But yeah, I'm sure when I go home tonight and sit back and think about, you know, what just happened, I'll be smiling.
You mentioned 4 strong quarters, but the third, obviously the strongest, outscoring them by 21. What was the message in the locker room, and what was clicking in the third quarter that maybe wasn't in the first half?
Yeah, you know, the first half, when we played clean, we did what we wanted to do offensively and defensively. So the message at halftime was one, you know, they haven't done anything to beat us. The plays that they've had or plays that we didn't make were a direct result of our own, you know, our own doing. And so the message at halftime was let's play clean, let's execute, let's play hard and not worry about the scoreboard, and just stay on the aggressive and attack until the game was over.
We know those two monsters they have on their defensive line well. How much did you have to try to schematically neutralize them on top of just blocking them?
I mean, I wanted to run it away from Johnny as much as possible. You know, I got a lot of respect for him. Obviously, Keith is a great player as well. But you know, if you were picking the lesser of the two evils, you didn't. I didn't want to go at Johnny, and so I thought our guys did a great job of scheming things up to try to not involve him as much in the game plan, and they did a good job of that.
I know you just touched on the turnover a second ago, but you talked about turnovers and penalties in the last couple of weeks really plaguing you guys. Just how encouraged were you in those areas?
I wasn't encouraged in those areas. You know, we let the ball on the ground. There were multiple times where the ball could have been on the ground. And we're not getting the message about ball security right now, and I'll fix that.
Deion Burks has been kind of quiet until today, obviously. Seemed to be scheming up touches for him. Has that been a conversation with Graham there to just get him the ball more?
Yeah, I mean, we all of us kind of do self-evaluations, and you know, the more we're around our roster and the more we see them in live scenarios, we have information, and so it's our job to adapt and to adjust. And you know, getting those guys touches was definitely a talking point, and I thought offensively they did a good job of doing that.
Yeah, Ryan, just to speak to the sense of relief for you just to get this win, to exit September 2-3, and to give the home fans a glimpse of what this can be all about.
You know, I mean, right now, I'm still like in game mode, you know what I mean? So I haven't been able to really take a breath yet. I'm sure it will be a very deep exhale when I just, you know, sit down and digest sort of what was going on today. But there's really no time to relax. You know, this is everybody's knew this schedule's gonna be tough going into the season. You know, we got a Big Ten slate coming up that is as difficult a schedule as there is in this conference. So the time to sit and rest on our laurels right now is not the time to do that. We got to put this one behind us. We got to learn from it. We got to start preparing for Iowa.
Ryan, any thing in particular that you feel like Hudson grew into today?
Yeah, you know, I thought he executed the game plan well. I thought he went and got us in the right situations and made the right reads in the run game. Thought he threw the ball on time and accurately, and got a lot of guys involved. You just kind of see his maturation as a quarterback and leader on this team, and it's been fun to see the guys rally behind him.
Any common denominator why your pass rush and your blitzes were so effective, and did you have to game plan figuring the guys on the other sideline might have a pretty good idea what you're thinking in certain situations?
I mean, we changed up a couple of signals so they wouldn't know what we were doing. But yeah, you know, as far as the pressures and the ability to get to the quarterback, those were ideas that were brought up throughout the week in terms of what we were seeing from Illinois on film.
More questions for Coach? All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Players in shortly.